Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Normally, I am making a video today, but instead, we are going to just go live, answer some questions, have a general topic and conversation. I have a few things here on my notepad I want to chat with you guys about. So I will just kind of ramble along and answer any questions that come up in the chat. I have maybe like 4 different topics I just want to discuss. We'll see how long it takes us to get through all of that. And then, yeah, like I said, I'll just field any questions you guys have. If you are watching this on the playback, definitely stick around and listen. I'm going to just be basically talking rapid fire for, okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you. Rapid fire for at least an hour, maybe 2. We'll kind of see how long it lasts. I'm watching rush hour traffic go by outside of my window, and it's a chilly day here in Virginia. So I have been trying to feel cozy today. I definitely am looking forward to having some warm dinner here in the next couple of hours. I want maybe like a soup or something. That's what I'm feeling like. That's what today's weather feels like outside. We do have, hi, Veros. We do have a microphone today. So I know our first live we did, the sound was like a little So hopefully the sound is good for you guys today. This is so weird having a little mic on, but I think that it is, it's going to be better for sound. I'm going to bring you guys a little bit closer to me. All right, perfect. So let's get started. Again, if you have any questions or comments, pop them in the chat. I'm going to just be paying attention and answering. No, we're going to go to dinner. It's date night. It's date night. So we'll go to dinner. I don't know where we're going to go, but maybe somewhere that has like some cozy food. I just know where I want to go. I know where I want to go now. It's somewhere that's not a chain, and it just dawned on me where I want to go. All right. So let's get into some of these topics here. Pop in the chat any comments you guys have, questions, and I'm just going to start going through and just kind of talking to you all about what I am feeling right now. Somewhere that has soup. Think about it, Justin. Where's someplace I want to go that's cozy and has soup, and maybe potentially a live music. I don't know. We'll see. He knows now. I gave him the ultimate hint. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is my first topic of conversation I have here, which is the story of my life as a reseller, which is this whole concept of pivoting. So I am continuously going into my local Goodwill bins and noticing that the books are just not there. Yesterday, they gave us about a half of one bin, and today they gave us about a half of 2 bins. So we had like 2 half bins. And there was some good stuff. I did grab some things, but it was really frustrating that I then got in the car and drove down like the 30, 45-minute drive to another city where there's another bins, and got they had 2 whole bins full of books. And I got a bunch there too. So it's good. I'm able to excuse me, I'm able to go and get some stuff, but so this pivoting thing has been really prevalent in my business, and it's something I've been spending a lot of time thinking about and kind of figuring out what some of my next steps are. For those of you guys that don't know, a little context, I willingly decided to not go back to my job in 2020. And while in a lot of ways, I don't regret that decision, in some ways, I do regret that decision. And one thing is that I was forced into basically being a full-time reseller as my living. And I've just been kind of going on, 4 years now, 4.5 years of I just hate how volatile and how dependent my business is on other businesses. So I'm working through a lot of the emotions of that. And I think if you've been a reseller long enough, you've gone through that as well. It is definitely a lot of emotional roller coaster when it comes to, making sure you have enough inventory, making sure the inventory is quality, making sure that the price that you're paying for your inventory stays relatively consistent, that you have a platform consistently and reliably, and all the other systems in between all work together and it all works. I have all the systems. I have the platform. I have the price point. I don't have the quantity or the quality. So I kind of feel like 2 of my big steps are missing. And so I've just been frustrated with that. And so definitely been still doing the pivot to plush toys, things like that from time to time. I'm picking things up right now, like little people figures, um, baby toys, Christmas gift style items with Q4 upon us, which is something that's on our topic list. And so I'm making it work, but it is like definitely getting exhausting. So, question for you guys is the pivot in your business, upon you. Have you gone through it? Are you having trouble sourcing anything in your local area? What's your main niche? Are you having to dive into those sub niches because your main niche isn't really giving you, enough income? So I'm very curious if you guys are experiencing that. I have heard a little bit of rumblings. And of course, I am also in a little bit of an echo chamber because when I'm talking to the other people who sell books primarily here locally, and they're also going, this is frustrating. We don't have books. It can be a bit of an echo chamber, but I'm kind of curious on the outside world. Like, what are some, other niches that might be suffering, or if anyone's having any other pitfalls? Because like somebody asked me yesterday, are you doing Disney pins still? And I was like, what? And they're like, or they said, are you doing pins still? And I was like, what? And they're like, pins. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, the Disney pins. And I was like, oh no, like I totally forgot I used to sell Disney pins for a moment because I can't get Disney pin inventory. So I don't make Disney pin shows anymore. And I don't sell Disney pins. At all. I have one show coming up in December, and it's to clear out every single Disney pin that I have left, which is a small little portion over here in a shelf. And once it's cleared out, it's done, and I'm not doing Disney pins probably anymore. Not at least until I have so much capital in my like buying power that I could buy them. So outside of that, I'm doing just my main little niches, and it's crazy. The clothing, the amount of clothing they put out every day is wild. 31 bins, 31 or 32, maybe it's 32 bins they put out of clothing every single day. 32 of those blue giant bins. So we're lucky if we get one or two bins of books. So it's just been very interesting. But that's my main thought on my head I wanted to share with you guys. So it was the pivoting, lack of inventory. Okay, so big decisions and utilizing the office better. These play into this, right? So big decisions. I go to the bins today and I decide I'm going to go dig through all the little things. And I'm going to pull out all the little people. I'm going to pull out all the little Paw Patrol characters and Peppa Pigs and the Blueies and all of the little characters. And I'm going to start building my little toy collection back. And it is scary to think about that. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it on a very general basis. I'm not going to take risks. I'm not going to try things I don't know. I'm just going to stick to the stuff I know and see how that works. And then I'm going to the auction tomorrow, which means I'm going to try to buy a Gaylord and see if I can get a bunch of that kind of stuff. And then on Friday, we're doing a show and we'll just kind of see what happens. So it's just a constant pivot. So then the utilizing the office better is if I start doing toys, I don't want to put that over here on the shelf like it used to be. I want to have space next door, set it up so that it looks nice and has all the different types of toys characterized, like Lego things can go here. I bought a bunch of magnet tiles, which I love. So I can put magnet tiles in one spot, dollhouse furniture. People love dollhouse furniture. I can put that in just kind of like organize it and see how that goes. But I don't know how exhausted of that I'm going to get. I don't know if anyone else in here does toys, like little toys, but it's exhausting. It's a lot. And then let's see what else. Yeah, just organizing the plush next door. So all of that is like, okay, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing books, but I'm doing the other stuff. So that's kind of where that is. And I'll let you guys know what's going on. I'm going to make a video about it. I already recorded part of it. We went to the bins and there was no books. And we were like, well, let's just go to Virginia Beach. And it was actually really good. And so last week I went to Virginia Beach 3 times. This week I've already gone once and it's only Wednesday. So, and I'm going again tomorrow. And I might go again on Friday, just depending. So we'll see. But I'm making it work the best I can. Okay. Next is within books. I'm also niching down a little bit of my Genres. Sorry, I was trying to think of like what they're called, like genres and categories, right? So I'm struggling to find adult books. It's embarrassing how few adult books I have on my shelf, let alone like that I'm buying every day. So I'm focusing a lot more on children's books. So it is definitely children's book heavy. I don't know if you guys can see, this is kind of my whole children's area back here. This shelf is my main children's section. And it's pretty full because I'm constantly having inventory. So that's been really nice. And then I'm also focusing on vintage cookbooks and obscure books like anything, spiritual, witchy, tarot, I don't know, astrology, like anything that's just kind of random and obscure topics, like documentaries or biographies, murder mysteries, true story, crime, things like that. Oh yeah, Virginia Beach is the best, and we love North Carolina. We just went to the Outer Banks 2 weeks ago, and I just remember like we were crossing the border, and I was like, I love how close we live to North Carolina because North Carolina to me is so similar to Virginia, so it's like an extension of Virginia to me. But I love it down there. Yeah, I grew up in Virginia Beach as well. I just live on the peninsula now. Okay, nice. So you're safe, I feel like, from some of that crazy destruction that was happening down there, which was wild. But yeah, I took a binge trip down there. We went all the way to Asheville, RIP, but we went through I think it was Winston-Salem. There's one in like Greenville or something, but we did a whole binge loop. There's like 5 of them. And it was so much fun. I love being down there in North Carolina. But I'm pivoting to the vintage cookbooks and the obscure as well, because those are definitely Greensboro. Thank you. Those are definitely doing well. A lot of little golden books, good condition little golden books that don't have any crazy damage or like a name written on the inside. Then I do a lot of just vintage picture. So fun, beautiful vintage picture books. I actually picked up a gorgeous copy of a vintage Goldilocks. It is in German, but it's gorgeous. It's like I can't even describe it. It's beautiful. So anything that's drawing my eye in, cookbooks, vintage and modern cookbooks. And then, like I said, the obscure kind of just your nonfiction cool books that people like to have just to flip through. So that's really where my focus has moved, because the adult fiction, young adult fiction, they're just few and far between. I am still getting it, but it's selling immediately. So my shelves are just really empty. I don't have like an inventory right now, it feels like. I did put another huge dent in my buy it now for 2 days in a row. I've listed into the buy it now of my whatnot auction, and I have a lot of stuff coming out of the pile of please list me and actually on the shelf now and available for purchase. A lot of those books are between $1 and $3. Very rarely does something more than $3 or $4 get listed unless it's like a book set or something like that. So it's really like low profit items, but it's just in the background. I'm in a show and somebody's just buying it in the background. So it's kind of passive. Once you get it listed, it just sells itself later amongst all of your future shows. So that's been really good. But yeah, all right, so that's where we're focusing on. That's where we're pivoting to right now. That's what's working for me on Whatnot. For those of you guys that don't know, I do sell primarily on Whatnot. I have a very small eBay account. I literally have 55 items listed on my eBay store. I'm going to be getting that up since, again, if I'm not making as much money with like the books that I'm used to making my good money on because I don't have them, and I'm doing a lot more work because I'm selling smaller profit like lower profit books, I've got to find other ways to make money in the process. So eBay's going to get some listings up on there. I'd love to see like 100 listings total. So 45 listings. I feel like that's pretty manageable. And then I sell, that's it. Whatnot and eBay. Yeah, because I'm not on Facebook at all. So that's it. So I'm just kind of making all of that work and doing some specialty shows and getting some like live listings up, whether it's in the buy it now of my store, eBay, something like that, right? Alrighty. Next up is another thing that I really wanted to talk about. I haven't made a video about this yet, but we did do live shopping from the Goodwill bins. So I had my camera set up facing just the books in the bins, and then I would go through them pretty much one at a time, take requests and put them in my cart. And then later that day or the next day, we would take all of the books that we bought and we would sell them live in the show. So that was pretty cool. No, so I'm pretty anti Mercari and Poshmark, OfferUp, any of those secondary sites. I have like a few reasons why. The main thing for me is don't like spreading myself out amongst platforms. I would rather, in the words of Ron Swanson, whole ass one thing than half ass two or three things. I really just struggle when I start dividing my time up into like multiple different platforms. Things like the fee structures, knowing you have to price it at one price on one website and a different on another. And then you have different shipping policies and return policies, especially with Mercari. They've got a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. And I genuinely don't like the platform. I've sold on Mercari before. I've also bought on Mercari, and I just never enjoyed it. Now, that was probably 7 or 8 years ago, so I don't know what it's like now, but I don't think about it, to be honest with you. And that's just my personal preference. If you're somebody who likes using, whether it's cross-listing software or you just don't mind and you're able to kind of keep all your ducks in a row, then selling on multiple platforms is awesome. I sell on District as well. I have never talked about this really on my channel, but it's just because I don't sell on it. I have like 4 or 5 items listed. I own a marketplace on District. If you guys are familiar, District is another like live auction / stagnant marketplace platform. They're kind of up and coming, just kind of making their way into the world. And they're an awesome site. I love them, like highly recommend them. But I created my own marketplace within their website, and it's called the Book Nook. So I can definitely find a way to get you guys that information if you're interested, but it's not like a super like active marketplace, and I'm definitely not active on there. I just created it because they reached out to me, and I was like, yes, I would love to. And it's something that as they grow, I will continue to put more time and energy. That's why I really like eBay and I really like Whatnot, because I want platforms that are fairly established, that kind of have a pretty solid standard across the board, buyer base, as well as like policies and the way they do things. Up and coming apps are going to have constant changes, and they might be for the good or the bad. And then your like second level, to me, your Mercari's, Poshmarks, and things like that. They do crazy things like what Mercari did, taking away selling fees and giving free returns regardless, and all that crazy stuff, and causing pandemonium within their platform. I don't want to deal with it. So I stick with those two. It was a long way about to answer that. But I do have another platform that I will sell on. I just don't. I went live once and it was fun, but they don't have an Android app yet. And that's why I'm not active on there. When they get the Android app up and running, I will probably go live on there at least once a month, maybe twice a month, like every other week. But until they do, it's really hard. And you're only able to tap into the iPhone audience. So I don't know, not my thing, but one day. So the bin show. So I really enjoyed doing that. We would come back to the office, we would sell the items. I had a set price. Everything for paperback was one price, everything for hardback was one price, and we just sold it like that. So as you were shopping live in the bins and you saw a bin you liked, and I'd say, oh, it's a paperback book, you knew it was $2. Or if it was a hardback book, you knew it was $3. It was across the board, didn't matter what the book was. And that was it. So then we would come back, we would make bundles just like normal. And pretty much all of those books had already been sold because they were claimed. And everyone did a great job at coming back and getting their books. I only had like one time that somebody was like, really like had requested a bunch of stuff and they didn't make it, but everyone else bought their stuff. So it didn't matter that they didn't make it because they had picked out good stuff regardless. So I want to do some more of that. I am getting over, if you can tell, I'm not coughing. It's been exciting. A large, like 3-week long respiratory bronchial like infection type thing. I've just been like coughing and just feeling like a tickle in my throat nonstop. And it is finally pretty much gone. I think I have like a couple more days of it and then I'll be done. So I didn't want to go back because of all the book dust. And that's why I haven't done those. But when I start doing those again, I'm going to definitely document that and talk to you guys about that here on the channel, because that was great. And I liked that a lot. So that's another thing that I'll be doing some more of. But it's also hard to do that when I don't know if there's ever going to be bins. But if there's one bin, it's fine. We can go through the one bin. So we can make that work, you know? Oh, hi, Happy Human. My favorite roller coaster. Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so we have a local theme park here called Busch Gardens. If you're familiar with Williamsburg or Tampa, there is a Busch Gardens in each of those locations. It's a pretty popular theme park. It's in Williamsburg, like big tourist attraction. And there is a roller coaster there called the Alpengeist. And it is like based on basically like you're in a ski resort. And it is like corkscrews, drops, twists, and now I go on it and like I get off and I want to like I like can't see straight, my head hurts, I feel like I want to throw up and I like feel terrible. But that's probably my favorite roller. That's always was my favorite roller coaster. It's been there since I was a kid and I love that roller coaster. It's hard to ride now. But that's my favorite roller coaster. But it's local to me. I've been to like Six Flags, I've been to King's Dominion, I've been to Carowinds, I've been to Disney, but that's probably my favorite. Actually, I probably, if I went to Disney more, then I would probably have a favorite there. I really liked Space Mountain. I loved Space Mountain. So much fun. But I've never been to Universal, so I'm probably missing a lot of really good roller coasters, honestly. I love that. It's America. Is it America? I think it's America's most beautiful theme park is the Busch Gardens. I don't know if the one in Tampa is the same claim, but the one here in Williamsburg, it's named America's most beautiful theme park. Like they are known for it, and it is. It's so gorgeous. I love it there. It is. It is still there. So they have a couple new ones, and we haven't been on any of the new ones. There's like 3 new ones, and I haven't been on any of them. But Griffin is still there. Griffin's fun. I just don't, it's too short to wait in line. And I think the total roller coaster is like 40 seconds, maybe less. It's just not, it's too short of a ride. But yeah. I haven't. So I haven't been on Pantheon. I haven't been on Tempesto. And there's another one they're building right now I haven't been on. And I also haven't been on Finnegan's Flyer. That one looks insane. So there's a few I haven't been on because we just got like, our tummy started hurting so bad. That one was? Wow. So I was back in the day when there was the Big Bad Wolf. That was my first ever roller coaster, which isn't there, which is now the Verbolten. And Verbolten is amazing. They also have a wooden roller coaster. Oh, wait. What's the wooden roller coaster? I don't remember what the wooden roller coaster is called. I can't remember, but that one's really fun too. A little side detour from Reselling Talk to Roller Coaster Talk. I like it. I like it a lot. I welcome any and all questions here. Invader. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that one's so good. Yeah, that one's good. See, it's funny talking about parks. You're down in North Carolina. I don't know if you know about H2OBX. It's like a mini water park they built like right outside of the Outer Banks. We drive by it every time we go to the Outer Banks. I'm like, I want to go there. I don't know if do you guys have, I don't know what other theme parks you have in North Carolina, because I think Carowinds was South Carolina. Can't remember. Is it the monster one that had the loops? That is the Loch Ness Monster that has the loops. That one's been there forever as well. The boys both have finally ridden No, Carson can't ride Loch Ness. I think he can ride it next year. So we can all do roller coasters next year. There's like 2 or 3 roller coasters that our shortest can finally ride probably next year. We're going to put some good sneakers on them the next time we go. Hey, Timmy. No way. They're doing like a comeback of Big Bad Wolf. Happy Human, how do you know all of this information? Are you just that connected to Busch? I love it. I'm going to come to you with all my Busch questions now. The phone rings. No. Well, good news. It's always going to be recorded. You can watch the playback for sure. It's right between. Okay. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, I went there like as a kid and it was so much fun. Roller coaster nerd. I love that. Okay, so what's your favorite roller coaster? Just come to Benson. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Everyone's in North Carolina. I'm coming down to North Carolina. All right. So that is kind of a wrap up as far as like what I'm doing, how I'm going to be like moving forward, the inventory I'm basically sourcing. Sorry, my hair's a little bothering me today, and my shirt is also bothering me. So I'm moving around a lot. I apologize. I'm going to be moving into some of those other things that I don't love doing, but I need to do in order to, you got to just do it. You don't have a choice. You kind of just have to do it. Okay. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, going back to the auctions regularly. I used to go every other Thursday and do pretty well. I might start considering going every Thursday or more than just every other Thursday from time to time. There are also times that I get out of my Tuesday show quick enough that I could realistically go down on Tuesday night if I wanted to. I'm not going to make that like a guarantee, but maybe once in a blue moon because the auction's also on Tuesday nights. And then I will just start being a little bit more comfortable with digging through. It's not my favorite thing, but I think that it's what just needs to be done right now. So I'm going to be digging through, looking for the gems, putting all the trash to the side. Maybe getting a couple of IKEA bags would be really helpful because a lot of my bags, I run out of them or they're too small. I just need something a little bit heftier. So maybe some IKEA bags would be really helpful, like sorting through everything, but we'll see. Charlotte meetup. Yes, that would be fun. So, so that's the auction thing I'm going to do, I think, is just kind of increase that, make it a little bit more consistent. I don't know if you guys can tell by my face. So this is the real live me going, I don't want to, don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. I want to source books. I want to find books. I want to sell books. It's my favorite thing. It is easy. It's simple. They are all the same general shape and size. They have the same general weights, the same features. They're easy to sell. They're easy to ship, like overall. But you got to do what you got to do. So we've got to pivot. Yes, they are. And I have one right now. One of them ripped or got lost. I have one and it's brand new. Just opened it the other day and I'm really excited. And when I opened it, I was like, why do I not have more of these? This is the perfect size for sourcing auction stuff. So I'm gonna have to grab some more. And I have an IKEA down there by where the auction is. So it's perfect. I'll just stop at IKEA on the way, grab a couple and make it over there. Target has IKEA bags? Or just like nice big bags. Anything cheap that yes, I like it. Nobody's fashion. I know. That is true. It is kind of a volatile niche, whereas men's fashion probably does stick tried and true a little bit more. That kind of style is just pretty much across the board. Nice big bags. Okay, I'll have to check that out. That's good to know. No magazines. No magazines or magazines. I do magazines from time to time, but it just makes me mad. I wish I could say, yeah, I want to do everything and I want to like go just buy whatever. But, yard sales are slowing down. So that's out of the question. I'm not buying storage units. I don't have a lot of like, my free pickup service right now is kind of because I haven't really been advertising it, which I probably should. I should do that. I need to get on that. I need to do that. I can't forget to do that. I need to put my ad back out. For those of you guys that don't know, I do free local book pickup. So it's just for books and it's just a Facebook ad. And I usually get some great traction on it, but I haven't updated it or renewed it in a while. And that would probably be a smart thing to do, especially now with the holidays. People are going to be clearing out their closets again, getting ready for family to come over and just preparing for the holiday, even going to grab, maybe those Christmas lights out of the attic and they come across something and it gives them an itch to kind of detox and pull a bunch of stuff out, especially with the kids' rooms. I know we're about to do it in about a month right before Christmas, and I'm going to detox their room. And so, a lot of that stuff gets donated. So sourcing tends to be pretty decent around this time. But if your Goodwill's not putting stuff out, because they're not putting other stuff out either. Apparently their scanner is broken, so they have to manually enter all of the information. So there's no scanning system for them right now because it got hacked a couple weeks ago, which is why the books were disappeared in the first place. And so they're manually typing everything in. So that's why like nothing's coming to the floor except for clothing. So much clothing every single day. But it is what it is. Yes, magazines. Interesting. Okay, so like collector's edition, any sort of niche in particular? You don't have to give all your secrets away, but I'm just kind of curious. Okay, I'll be here. I might be here. Okay, so we're pivoting. We're going to the auction more regularly. We're committing to making decisions that bring us inventory. We're going to get bigger bags so that we can feel comfortable taking more stuff home instead of leaving things behind because it's annoying and it doesn't fit in the bag. We're going to put our ads back out and our feelers back out and remind people we do books, we do plush, I do other things. Like, let me know if there's anything that you're looking for or anything you have to donate. I can come and pick it up. I also do buyouts if you have stuff to sell. We need to do those things, right? We got to get our systems back in place because it's hard to know what system you're on when you're pivoting every single day, but we're going to get our systems in place, make the world work for us, and have things come to us. We want everything to start flowing to us. That's the goal. Oh, interesting. That is very interesting. Survival, sports, cars, etc., lifestyles. Fascinating. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of luck in the magazine market on whatnot. So that's really interesting to see. I do have some things I'll pick up, like super special collector's editions or something that's just in really great shape. But I'd stick away from anything like vintagey. I will say I do sell some vintage magazines on eBay. So maybe those would sell well on whatnot. I've never tried. Okay. Last thing that I have specifically on my list to kind of bring up as a topic is a reminder of Q4, right? So we have Black Friday coming up in just over 2 weeks. We have Christmas coming up in 6 weeks. And we have to take into consideration what we're listing and how much we're listing for, how much money we're going to be getting back from those items that we list. And also keeping in mind buying power of your consumers. Noticing the trends for me is really easy. Selling live on a weekly basis, I can notice sometimes when people's pockets are a little bit tighter, and I notice when people's pockets are a little bit fuller and they're willing to spend and buy a little bit more. So I am definitely keeping all of that in mind. For Black Friday, typically Whatnot does either free or reduced fees. They usually do 0 fees on Black Friday. So if you're doing a show on Black Friday between a certain hours, they will do 0% commission. And so you will basically earn all of your money minus your processing fee. You will always have to pay a processing fee on almost any platform you're on. Very rarely is a platform going to waive its processing fee, and Whatnot has never done it to my knowledge, but they will waive the like 8% general like commission, right? And so I'm going to do a Black Friday show for sure. I just need to figure out what I'm going to do. The next 2 weeks will tell me what I'm going to do, but I literally couldn't tell you right now if it's going to be books, toys, whatever, because I just don't know. Now, in the past, I've done a Black Friday show that's been so much fun. I do. Gianni. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm going to assume I know you, Gianni. And yes, you can message me on Instagram, where I imagine we're friends already. And I will show you my ways, my infinite ways. Look, I'm drinking out of my grandpa mug. My grandpa mug. Gianni has the same mug, and it says grandma. And so he's grandma, I'm grandpa. I do actually offer one-on-one tutoring, though. You really can just watch my YouTube videos and then message me any questions. But if you're ever like, I really just want to talk some stuff out, feel free. I do that. I've never seen it before. For super chat, I am monetized, guys. I'm allowed to get super chats. That's crazy. I don't have any sort of like cool thing to do. Like, how do you? I'm just clicking on it to see all the things it does. I can heart it. All right, I hearted it. That's so sweet. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate you. You're so sweet. Whoop whoop. Yeah, so I can get super chats now because I'm actually officially monetized. So thank you. Black Friday plans. I don't know what it's going to be because I don't know what I'm going to have in stock, what I'm going to have access to, but I will have access to something. And then for Christmas, all I can do really right now is clean house. So I have an entire office next door full of what I'm going to start referring to as junk instead of inventory, because it is not junk, but if I keep treating it like junk, it's going to eventually be junk. And people love junk. And so what I need to do is I need to clean that out. I want to like sell everything I have. I just want to like sell it all. So that means doing larger shows with larger selections of inventory. It means digging deep into boxes that I've sealed off and put to the side. I have so much cool stuff next door that I've just like put to the side, like, oh, I'll sell this later. This is for a different show, or that's going to be an eBay item, or I need to clean that up a little bit more before I can sell it. It's like, no, you need to sell it. So pulling out boxes, even over here on the shelves over here, I have some things. In that basket, I have some things. I've got stuff over here in the corner that's Disney stuff that's not pins that need to be sold. I have stuff down there that needs to be pulled. I have literally, my whole Christmas bin. We're not allowed to do games anymore on Whatnot anymore. I need to clean out my Christmas bin. It's the perfect time of the year. So doing like all this Christmas stuff would be perfect. I got to do it. I got to do it, guys. So that's my plans. That's my Q4 plans. That's my seasonal plan is whatever I have in stock for Black Friday is happening on Black Friday. And then from Black Friday or around Black Friday and on, it is going to be a purge. It's get rid of everything, get rid of anything seasonal. Like if it's seasonal, it should not be in your office at the end of the season. And that comes with listing on eBay as well. So like, it's an all-in-one process. Hopefully that makes sense how it all is going to play into each other. I have to do the physical work, but that's kind of the plan. That's the trajectory is getting more stuff listed on eBay, getting stuff listed in my auctions for Whatnot, doing auctions that have more items in it, maybe being on longer or just bringing more inventory to the auction, doing things like going back to the Goodwill bins and doing the live sourcing, going to the auctions at Goodwill, the auctions they do during the week and sourcing there, and then bringing it back and prepping basically to just purge it all. If it comes in, it needs to go out. No saving it, no hoarding it, no putting it to the side and saying, I'll sell this another time. You're selling it now, okay? When it comes in, it needs to also be going out. That's kind of the motto. And that's my plan. So that's where I am. That's all my topics. I will hang around for a little bit if you guys have some questions. I'm definitely down to be on for like an hour today. So you guys have still about 20 minutes if you want to ask any questions. And if not, I'll sit here and talk to you because I don't usually have a problem doing that. You can definitely find some things to talk to you guys about. Like I said, I did go down to the Virginia Beach bins and that's been so nice. And I've not wanted to ever do that before, but the time of the day, that like 9:30 to 10 a.m., traffic is just not really there and it's perfect. And it was so perfect today on the way through the tunnel because I have to go through a tunnel. That's why there's traffic. That's why I say that. I had to go through the tunnel and on the other side of the tunnel coming back, there was traffic because they had done some tunnel something. They had stopped it and it just caused a backup. And then on my way back, it was clear. And the other side, there was an accident. And so I got lucky on the way there and back, no traffic, and it was super good. I did go to the DAV, little update on the DAV situation. Let me talk to you guys about this for a second. Okay, so you guys remember how the Salvation Army took all the books out of their book room and put overstock items, which I went in there today and oh my gosh, it's insane. They have so much overstock items in there. It's terrible. It looks like a Target. Like I don't even understand. It's not even a thrift store. It's like at that point, you're just liquidation. But anyway, I was trying to look at the books. They didn't have anything. There was also people in the way, so I kind of couldn't really look that well. But if you remember, they got rid of all their books, which meant the thrift store across the street was likely going to be the thrift store that started to get all of those donations. The Salvation Army said they are not taking it anymore. They're not taking any more book donations, CD, vinyl, any of it, and they're going to be doing this liquidation stuff. So I've been going to the DAV for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and it has been wild. All of their books used to be 99 cents to like $3.99 or $3.98 at like the most. And then every now and again, there'd be a book that was like $5, $6, $7, $8, just like a specialty book, right? Like a really nice hardcover Stephen King or some sort of collection or omnibus, right? Everything else was super reasonably priced. And most of the paperbacks were like 99 cents, maybe $1.99. And then most of the hardbacks were $2, maybe $3, right? Well, that's not the case anymore. Since they started getting all these books, they've jacked up their prices for no reason. And now like all the paperback books are like $3. Like there's very few $1.99 books in there at all. Most all the paperbacks are $3 and most all of the hardbacks are $4. Yeah, $2.98 and $3.98. Like that's the main price point now. It's ridiculous. Like I can't. $3 and $4 for books is a lot of money for very standard run-of-the-mill books. A lot of those books I sell for $3 or $4, so I can't buy them for $4. Did they really? Yes, you can curse here. You can't get in trouble. Yeah, I have one in like maybe 45 minutes away. They closed, and this is the only one in my area because we don't have one up here. Yeah, so. As far as I know, if I remember correctly, there's only one Salvation Army in like my whole entire area, which is like within like an hour in any direction of me. So I totally understand. I could see why. I don't know why they're pricing it up. They also are running out of space on the shelves. So eventually they're not going to be able to put books. So this is what I was going to tell you guys. I want to proposition them. Proposition? I want to give them a proposition. I want to give them an offer they can't refuse. I want to go in there in like 3 weeks when these books are not selling because they're way too expensive. I went in there today. I picked up 2 books and I put them back on the shelf because I could not justify paying for them what I was going to pay for them. It was going to be $7 total. It was a $4 book and a $3 book. It was going to be $7. And I would have started each book at $5. So I was going to maybe make $3. And then after fees and time and taxes and all that, $2? No, it would have been a bad buy. So I put them back on the shelf. And so I want to go be like, hey, I noticed you guys are getting all the book donations from the Salvation Army and you're running out of space. And I noticed your pricing went up. Is there any chance that you would like, is there any role that I could play in the back room here? Can I help you with processing some of these books, maybe offloading some? I know how much the Salvation Army was getting in donations. I can only imagine they're being flooded with books because the shelves are so full and they've expanded. The only little bit they had at the bottom now is full of books. So they have no more room. So I think they're going to run out of room because I know many people were donating books. So fingers crossed I can find like a professional way to approach them and just ask, see what they say. And the worst they could say is no. But the best they could say is, yeah, maybe, like, what did you have in mind? And I can give them my idea of how I could help without them feeling like I'm taking advantage of them. It's just, they're going to need to offload those books. There's nothing they can do long-term with that many. What? If I got stopped in a tunnel, I would be that 65-year-old man out of a car having a major panic attack. If you got stopped, you don't stop. Well, no, you do. You stop in the tunnel sometimes. It's not scary. I promise you, it's not scary. People are so scared of the tunnel, or like they think it's so safe. It's so safe. I promise you. And worst case scenario, you could just swim to the surface. You're not that far underwater. I know that just made it worse for you. Do you need to know or read the book first before what? I know, absolutely not. How do you recommend a book if you don't really know what it's about? That's a great question. So some of the books I know what they're about because I've sold them so many times. I've read the synopsis multiple times. I've heard people talk about the book or give their kind of opinion on it. So there are a lot of books that I've never read and have no intention to read, but I can tell you what they're about just because I've, read the synopsis a bunch of times. A lot of books are pretty self-explanatory when you've been doing it for a while. You'll start to pick up like, oh, this is definitely a thriller. This is definitely romance. Oh, this one is more of a sci-fi, or this one is more of your general fiction or a period piece or historical fiction, right? So you kind of start to get the glimpse of it. And then what I like to do is talk about the book itself. So like maybe I can give you an example. I don't know. I'll give you an example of this right here. So this is a pretty common book. People know generally George R.R. Martin, Game of Thrones. And this is part of the Game of Thrones series. I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones in my life. Go ahead. persecute me in the comments. It's not my genre at all, but what I would do is I would just talk to you about the book. So I'm going to first show you the book. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to show you the condition. I'm going to mention there is a little bend on the back here, but it's one of the kind of mass market sizes of this Game of Thrones series. And then I hold up the synopsis. So on the camera, it'll be facing the other way, and I'll hold it like this in front of me, and the camera will zoom in on the synopsis, and that person can read it. And all I had to do was tell you about the book, not what's inside of the pages, but that it has a crease on the back. This is the size. It's a little thicker. Or maybe I can tell you what book this is. This is book 5. So I can say, oh, this is book 5 of the series. So right, I'm telling you enough about it without ever having to really know. I couldn't tell you what this book is about. It's about dragons and a queen and priests and soldiers and tides of destiny. I don't know. But point being, absolutely not. I've read 0.01% of the books that I sell, other than kids' books. I can read kids' books all day long. And if you are a parent or you had a childhood, you've read a lot of these kids' books yourself. So that's kind of another thing to keep in mind. Kids' books are really, really easy. Adult books, just show them the synopsis or read it to them, whatever you want. Yeah, absolutely. There, like I said, the one that closed down, I went to a while ago before it closed down. I don't think I bought anything, and I drove a little out of my way to go to it. I didn't buy anything. The book section was all the way in the back. It was horribly disorganized, and they're shut down now. So yeah, their whole system is not really working. Start with, don't you know who I am? Exactly. Like, so let me just pull some analytics up on my phone for you real quick. But that's actually the thing, that like they don't want resellers in there. They don't care, because people will buy those books at that price. People will buy a lot of things in thrift stores at those prices. They're going to cut the reseller out as much as they possibly can. And I would have to be honest, they're like, why do you want, what are you going to do with these? I'm like, I'm going to sell them too, but I can't buy books from your company at that price point. But if you want to work out a deal, I could buy books from you and your company in bulk at a smaller price point. Like, even if you wanted to set a price of like $2 a book, regardless if it was a book that was more worth $1 versus a book that was more worth $3 or $4, $2 a book. I feel like that's really fair. So taking copious notes. 97. I backed up the Hampton Tunnel on a Monday morning. My little Honda just. I know, you're the person I'd be like, doesn't anyone know how to drive? It's just a tunnel, guys. But yeah, it happens. I actually was running low on gas one day, and I ran out of gas outside of the tunnel. I was just past the tunnel, but I remembered going through the tunnel going, oh, I really need gas. Go through the tunnel, run out of gas, because I literally just forgot. I ran out of gas, called AAA, and they actually had a VDOT person come and help me. And he was like, good thing you didn't run out of gas in the tunnel, because that's like a fine if you do that, if you cause traffic like that. I was like, what? Good to know. Yeah, absolutely, Julia. You definitely don't need to have read the books. Just kind of like familiarize yourself with genres and then give them the information. And kids' books are easy. Just talk about how cute they are and how good the story is, and the illustrations are beautiful, things like that. Customers know what they're after. I sell toys and I don't know half of exactly. Sometimes I'm holding something up and I'm like, what is this, guys? Do you know who these characters are? And they're like, oh, that's so-and-so and so-and-so from this obscure show that you've never heard of as an adult. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have 4-year-olds. That makes sense. Books too. I'll hold up some books. Sometimes I'm like, who is this? It says it's a Disney Junior show, and they're like, oh yeah, that's a really popular Disney Junior show. I'm like, oh, I have no idea, but I know somebody wants it. So somebody said it was, what's his face? I saw it must have been a joke, because it's John Krasinski, right? Which I love. He is the sexiest man alive, outside of one other person that I think is very sexy as well. So I was trying to save that one. He's my celeb crush. Justin knows that. But I saw a joke post. It must have been somebody said someone else was named 2024 sexiest man, and he's like, nah. It was Benny Blanco. Didn't we see that together? The Benny Blanco, but it's not Benny Blanco. It must have just been a joke. Yeah. Yes, Paul, it's you. It's you. Um, I try not to talk about myself, Gianni. You'll play second fiddle. I like it. I like it. Y'all are too funny. Yeah, I saw some of the other contenders too, and I don't recognize any of them. They're like international actors or people, but yeah, John Krasinski deserves that one. I kind of surprised it's taken him this long to earn that award because I used to have him as a screensaver on my phone. That's how obsessed I was. It was disgusting. I was a child. I wasn't a child. I'm saying I was being, young minded. But anyway, thanks for distracting me, making me think about John Krasinski. Have you seen The Quiet Place? Have you seen his acting? He is hilarious. All right. So what else? Oh, so that's what I'm going to do with the DAVs. I'm going to proposition and just see if they are open to any sort of agreement. So that's kind of the plan there. And then what else do I have to say? I'm bound to have at least one more good topic in me. We've got about 10 minutes left and we'll wrap up. Let's see. Oh, it's so nice not be coughing. I was coughing so bad and I'm just so glad to be over that. Roman Reigns. Why does that sound so familiar? Roman Reigns. We have a couple people in the Whatnot community who are really into wrestling and like live for it. And it's so funny listening to them talk about, because I call them characters. They're not, they're people, but I mean, they play a character. It's acting, right? Hardest part for a new seller on Whatnot? That's a really good question. And have I done any Whatnot chat shows? I haven't. It's so funny you asked me that. I have thought about doing Whatnot chat shows before. I have a lot of good friends in the community who do Whatnot chat shows. Paul, Philly Flipper in the chat, knows Jen's Multiverse does some community chat shows. I think Carpe Diem does some community chat shows. Excuse me, there's a few other people I like. There's someone her name is What Liz Likes. She does a great community chat show on Monday mornings. I really enjoy those. And I do watch them from time to time. And I've thought about doing them, but I actually just was looking in the community show tab yesterday thinking I should do a community show. So it's really funny you say that. I haven't, and I probably should, especially even just being on YouTube, like just letting people know, hey, if you are looking to be a seller, there's a plethora of information out there. And I do try to make quality content on Whatnot information and reselling in general. So I might have to check out and do one of those. I don't know when I would fit it into the schedule, but I'll think about that one for sure because I think that would be fun. It's so funny you say. I was literally yesterday just looking in that channel, just curious who was doing shows, what they're titled, what are they talking about, just kind of curious. But great question, Justin. Hardest part for a new seller on Whatnot? I would say perseverance is probably like the toughest thing. And I think it's just understanding that it's like going to be very challenging to just come into a niche, to come onto a platform that you've never, sold on. You have no profile. You're not experienced. You don't really know what you're doing. You don't have any credentials, a track record. And so you're coming on trying to sell people stuff. And if they click on your profile and it says 0 items sold, 6 followers, maybe a bio of some sort, but they don't have any, there's no past shows, there's no reviews, they don't have anything. A lot of people will refrain for a little bit. And unless you have just great, amazing quality items and you're putting on a good show, and your first show, you might make no sales. Often you make no sales. You might make 1 or 2 sales. Maybe you sell a few things at a low profit. And it just feels like that was kind of a waste of your time. And then they don't go live again. I think that's the hardest part, is realizing like you have to look at it from a point of view of a buyer. If I'm a buyer, somebody can have a great show. I'm going to click on their profile. I want to see what their feedback looks like. I want to see how many items they've sold. I want to see if they have reviews. I want to see what if they have past shows. I want to see that personally, but that's just me. I do it on Amazon. I look at the reviews. I scroll all the way down to the bottom. I do it on eBay. I look at the seller profile and their feedback. I do it online. I want to see what people are saying about a product I might want to try. I do that. So why would I not do that on Whatnot? So it's really challenging, I think, for people to get over that a mental hurdle of, I didn't sell anything. That didn't go well. That was a failure. I hear that so many times. That was a failure. And I'm like, it's not a failure. Do you know how many times you want me to bring out all the cliches? Thomas Edison didn't learn how to invent, he didn't fail however many times. It took him that many tries to figure out how to invent the light bulb. Whatever the phrase is, you guys know what I'm talking about. There's so many cliches about like giving up on the first try, right? You have to persevere. So for me, I would say just being okay with failing, not having a good first show, probably not having a great second show. Maybe your third show's like kind of something. And then by your fourth or fifth show, you're like, okay, wait, I'm starting to see something here. I've made a couple sales. I'm getting regular people coming back. People are coming in. I know what buttons to press. I'm not fumbling around. I don't look disorganized and crazy. I figured out my audio issues. The first two shows, there was audio issues. Oh, I didn't have a light until my fourth show. Figure out all the things that are like not working in your favor, tweak them, and do 10 shows. Do 10 shows. Give it a good go. Just try. Just keep trying. So getting over that like mental hurdle of I failed is probably for me one of the best things that I'm just like, you didn't fail. You're just learning. You're literally just getting started. It would be like publishing a YouTube video and getting 2 views and being like, I failed. No one's going to ever watch me. Even in the YouTube world, they say you have to do 100 videos. Do 100 videos and then see where you're at. So you got to give it some time. So just people saying, I don't have a following, because that's a huge question in the space is, what if you don't have a social media following? What if you don't have a following? Most people don't. I didn't have a social media following. Excuse me. I started off with 0 followers when I got started. You can do it. You just got to try. Just try. Yeah, I think I would love it, Wonderland. Honestly, I love stuff like that, and I love talking like this, and being able to really interact on Whatnot is a lot different than interacting live on YouTube when you don't have like a huge following. Even ironically, I mean, yeah, I do have like 6,000 followers on Whatnot versus my 1,000 here, but I think I have a more solid 1,000 here than I do a 6,000 there, if that makes sense. I've been on the app for a while. I have people that follow me that aren't even on the app anymore. So those followers, they're not 6,000 people. It's really like probably like 200 people, that like really are actively on the app still. So you got to think about that. But yes, that would be fun to have a little bit more of like an interaction vibe with Whatnot. 100%, Gianni, that's such a good point. It is so true. And you'll try something as an experienced seller and it just doesn't work. It flops. You will think you're going to have a great show. You're like, oh, I've got awesome inventory. It's going to be wonderful. And it's just people aren't really buying that night. And that hurts. That's a tough one to go through. If you're a semi-experienced Whatnot seller, if you've done enough shows to have experienced this, which is like, oh, I've got some great inventory. I'm so excited. And it's just kind of crickets. And you're like, where is everyone? What's going on? Or on the inverse, sometimes you have crappy inventory and you're like, all right, guys, we're just going to see what we can do. And you like sell out and it's a great show. And you're like, thanks, appreciate you guys. They just wanted to buy stuff. They didn't even care. So there is a lot of trial and error for sure. And just learning, it's definitely a kick to the gut for sure. Learning what your buyers want, pivoting in those after show moments. You do the show, you hear what people had to say or any comments or feedback. Like say you're doing a show, right? And I'll give you an example. I used to do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays. I still do Tuesdays and Saturdays. But Tuesdays, I would do only children's books, right? I don't know, somebody can tell me in the chat if they remember. I used to only do children's books on Tuesdays. No adult books, no young adult, anything unrelated to children's books. And then Saturday, I would do everything shows. That's what I would call them, everything shows. And I started to learn on Tuesdays, I would get a lot of people come in and they would ask for adult books, or they would see something on my shelf and they'd be like, oh, can I have that? I'm like, oh, we aren't really doing adult books. Like I would literally tell them, no, you can't buy that. Like it was not really, but like kind of like I definitely was deterring people from buying and looking at anything that wasn't kids' books. And so I learned very quickly by getting constantly asked this question in the chat that I needed to just basically sell everything all the time. Like, why was I limiting my market? I was niching down one day a week going, no adults can buy anything for themselves. You can buy stuff for your kids, but not for yourself. So that was just like a kind of a revelation where post show too many times I was going, I feel like I could have made more money if I sold them those adult books. And then they wouldn't come back, right? I'd be like, oh, come back on Saturday. And I would never see them again. So think about the things people are asking you as you're getting started in your first few shows. If they're asking you for certain types of books, or they're asking you to do something, maybe you're consistently being asked to, can you show the book better, right? Can you move your camera back, or can you flip through the pages? Like, maybe someone's asking you this a lot, and you're not just naturally picking up that, like, you need to do that. Like, you need to flip through it. If you're selling a cookbook, you need to show them what the inside of the cookbook looks like. If you're selling a picture book, you need to show them what the pictures look like, right? So just kind of like keeping in mind those types of requests. Or if somebody asks you, like, how much something costs, and you don't have kind of like an answer for them. Like, for me, I have a very vague answer on my show, but it's also weirdly specific at the same time. If you're like, oh, well, I don't know, everything's a different price and it just kind of depends. So, but I don't know, I'll just tell you, or something. Like, if you don't have like an answer for their questions, like for me, mine's kind of a similar answer, ironically, but it works. I say, check out the show notes. I have a lot of listing of my pricing breakdown in there. Most of my books are like $3 to $4 and less, like very cheap pricing. If a book's ever $5 or more, I'll let you know. Some of my books do have set pricing. So like leveled readers are always $1. Little square books are always $2. Graphic novels are $3. Most of my adult books are $3 and $4. Like, I kind of give them the breakdown, and then from there they can take that information and go with it. Or how does this work, right? I need to have an answer for that. Well, this is how it works. We're doing new inventory. I do bundles, so on and so forth, right? So you just need to be prepared and listen and get the feedback from the people that are talking to you in your show, and then do what you need to do to take those tips and move forward with them. So pay attention, chat. Yes. Oh yeah, the cubbies. Pay attention. Oh, pay attention to the chat. Yeah, no, I thought you were telling like, pay attention, chat. No, but pay attention to the chat. That is a good one. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen somebody have 2 or 3 or 4 people in their show, not a lot of people. So nothing's happening in the chat, right? They're doing whatever they're doing, but there's nothing really happening. And one person will say one thing, and it'll take 2 or 3 minutes for the person to realize somebody said something to them. And I totally get that. I genuinely can understand why that at first is a learning curve of like, oh, I've got to read. Like, even here, I've got to read this. Thanks, Deborah. I appreciate you. Number 1 fan, Deborah in the chat. Appreciate you. I can understand how that is like a hard thing to do, but yes, you have to read the chat. You have to be attentive. If I ask you a question and you don't respond to me in like a minute, and I'm the only person that said anything in the chat, I'm going to feel a little neglected. And I'm also feeling like my needs aren't being met as a buyer. So I'm probably going to like head out at some point and just be like, all right, cool. Maybe I'll ask one more time. But that's a big one. Pay attention to the chat. And then, yeah, the cubbies, I have the cubbies. So I do offer something different in my show. Like, find something that makes you unique. So I did a lot of bundling at the beginning of my like journey, and it stuck. So I stuck with bundling. And that's something that for a long time made me really unique. And I'd get a lot of questions about that. Like, how do you do that? And how does it work? And then I started seeing other people do bundling. And I was like, yes, like, we're doing it, guys. Like, we are making this platform work for us. So this is something that is a really great way to buy. People like it. Let's make this a norm. And so I love seeing people implementing like the best way for them to save money from the fee structure and whatnot, and for the buyer to kind of feel like to stick around, right? Oh, I have a pile now. I didn't just buy something and I could leave at any time. I have a pile of books. So now I want to stick around and see what else I can add to my pile. And then you have to stick around, right? If you want to buy your books, you have to stick around so you can buy them. So I like that it encourages people to like stay and shop and experience everything you have to offer in your show. Setting fair pricing is a big one. If your price structure is just way out of line, people aren't going to stick around. You gotta be offering things to people. You can't just be on there and be like, I'm going to make a ton of money selling whatever it is I want to sell on Whatnot. It's like, what's the value draw of them buying from you on Whatnot? What's wherever you're selling? What's the value? Why should they buy that from you or not? Maybe somebody who has more of an inventory selection or a little bit of a cheaper price, or they can't really shop today. They could really shop tomorrow, and so is going to be on tomorrow, so they're just going to go buy all their stuff from them. It's like, are you on at the right times? Are you providing a good price? Are you running a good show? It's a lot of check marks, and I sometimes hate saying that, but I think it's an important thing is like, if you can't hit most of those check marks, you are going to struggle. And I just think that's a really harsh reality for a lot of people, but you've got to be organized. You have to have good inventory. You have to have fair pricing. You have to have a bit of a personality, just an ounce, an inkling of something to give people to stay in your show. And then you need to provide good customer service and ship promptly. Somebody was telling me about somebody who has like a 13-day average shipping time or something. Just like, how is that a thing? So just providing all of the things. 100% Gianni. Like probably one of the biggest reasons why I leave shows. I would say sound quality, like kids in the background, a crying whine. That's actually the number one reason I'll leave your chat. If I can hear a whining baby in the background, I'm leaving immediately. Like anything that it's just like, mom, oh, any like whiny like things, or like, mom, like the screaming. Oh, I'm leaving immediately. Like I could hear kids talking in the background, but crying, whining. That's the first reason I'll leave your show. Dogs whining, like whimpering dogs, or like scratchy paws all over the floor, like that is another one. Like I can't stand it. And then not paying attention to the chat. Those are the biggest reasons I will not stay in a show, because I just can't. It's a sensory thing. So please make sure you are engaging. You are not there for yourself. You are there for your audience. So you need to be engaged with your audience for sure. But yes, that is so true. That is a huge reason why I will leave a chat for sure. And it's so funny to me. Sometimes I'll even see people where it's two people doing a show and they'll miss the chat. That's very fascinating to me. I'll see two people, like a husband and a wife running a show, and I'm just like, how are both of you guys missing this? Like, y'all got to talk to us. We're trying to ask you questions. No, I don't actually, Michelle. That's a good question. No, I don't organize them by price at all. I definitely am just organizing it by the genre, like the category, and then the because I try not to say genre. I get in the habit of saying genre, but it isn't genre per se. It's actually category, like type of book, like adult, young adult, board, picture, things like that. I do organize by genre only in my adult section. Is the only category that I organize by genre. I have thriller books kind of separated, like Amish books kind of separated, anything that's like historical romance, Amish type stuff. And then I have your general fiction, and then I have sci-fi fantasy. So I do have those organized, but nope, not by price at all. And it's really easy for me just because like I know how much I would price a book for, but it's almost always between the $1 and $4 range. Like so many of my books, I don't even know if I have any $5. Oh, I have like maybe a couple. I have very few $5 not books. So it's like 1 to 4. And so it's just very simple for me to just put it wherever, because I know how much something is going to cost when I look at the book. And that's also easier when you're not sourcing a bunch of random stores and you are sourcing in bulk, like me at the Goodwill bins, where I'm paying 25 cents and 50 cents for most of my books. So I know that that's the cost of most of my books. So I don't have to worry about remembering how much I paid for something or keeping any sort of spreadsheet to track it. I just kind of know my average cost. I usually say my average cost is 33 cents just because it meets in, or 35 cents because it meets in the middle ish. So high volume. Well, I do high volume. I mean, Not so much right now, just because our local Goodwill is just not really putting a lot out for me to get, but I do. I mean, like I've got books all surrounding my feet down here in, new inventory that hasn't been shown. And so I would say on a Tuesday show, if I had to guesstimate how many books that we show on a Tuesday show, we probably show like 100 to 150, maybe about that much. And then on a Saturday show, it's probably closer to 200 to 400 books, like probably like 300-ish. I think like one of the times I've counted a lot in the past, but recently, I think it was like 328 individual books that I had sold in a Saturday show. And so, well, I take that back. So maybe I'm not showing 300 books, but I can sell that many. So probably closer to 200 to 300 then. 200, 250. So yes, in a week, I could be showing, give or take, 400 or 500 books, new inventory. Right now, it's probably closer to 300 or 400, but it is a lot. And then I have all the stuff on the shelf. So I'm showing new inventory and then I have all my shelves to shop. So yeah, it is bulk. And then but when I say I'm buying in bulk, I'm buying individual books, but I'm buying a lot at once. And so that's where the bulk comes from. It's not a rolling chair. It's a spinny chair. It's a spinny chair. Oddly more dangerous. I think that you should actually stay in the show, because what if they fall and hurt themselves and they need someone to report it, So that's really irresponsible of you actually to leave when somebody's doing something so dangerous and might need your help. So, but that's just me. That's my opinion. I have been known to stand on a chair that should not be stood on, and I have been known to hurt myself. I will say all this stuff at the top, I've been so torn on. I told everyone, I was like, yeah, I'm going to move those down because I always have to stand on a ladder to get them. I do have a ladder. Stand on a ladder to get to them. But I like the way they look up there. Like, I feel like they look good on camera. So I'm in a pickle with those right now because they look so nice up there. Is it so much to ask for a Bell bookshop, like a book ladder? I just want a stand-in book ladder that I can just use. That's what I need. Okay, that's a really good question, Michelle. So I have to think about what it would be. Maybe I should put the Harry Potter and Twilight and Hunger Games up there, because that actually, like, I don't get those as often, I feel like, as I have to get Warriors and stuff. Maybe, I don't know. You're not wrong. I just would have to figure it out. It just looks so nice. I think it looks nice, but it's not the smartest placement for those books. They're out of reach for sure. So Michelle, you said, how much does the shop the shelf sell during a show? And as far as like when I'm doing any given show, how many people are shopping my shelves? Like, how many people are going into the auction tab, browsing all the pictures I have and buying items from there? I think that's what you're asking. I used to, I don't do them anymore, shows called Shop the Shelf shows, where it was like, we don't have any new inventory. We're just shopping the shelves. But we haven't done those in a while. So yes. Okay, perfect. So I would say on a Tuesday, a lot less than on a Saturday. Typically, for some reason. Tuesdays, I feel like it's a lot of new inventory, and I will tend to sell like a handful of items from the shelves, like maybe an adult book or two, maybe a young adult book. Tuesdays tend to be a little more kid heavy in general, so I tend to be doing picture books or maybe some random chapters or something like that. Now, keep in mind, Saturday show, all the leftover new inventory gets put on the shelves, and I don't update pictures on Tuesdays of a lot of my kids' shelves. I always update my adult, my young adult, and the board books typically because those tend to sell a lot on Saturday and they change. So I want at least those to be updated. And then all the stuff back here behind me, I don't usually update until Saturday. So I think that's why I don't sell as much on Tuesdays, where I'll sell like a couple, right? Like maybe like 5 or 6 or 7 books from the shelves, nothing crazy. And then on Saturday, I would say the shopping the shelves, I probably sell like on a good Saturday, like at least 20 or 30 or 40 individual books from the shelves, I would say. Usually quite a few kids' books, nonfiction, chapter books, adult, young adult. Like I usually sell a good bit. Like this past Saturday, I sold a ton. Lily came in and bought, I don't know, probably like 20 board books that she picked out all from the shelves. Just she browsed and she put all of her requests in and I just picked them all off the shelves and she like cleared me out, which was great. So it can depend, but I would say give or take like 20 to 30 or 40, just depending on a really good night versus kind of like a standard Saturday. But I highly recommend putting pictures of your shelves in the auction. It is very helpful. I have some $1 books I'm pulling. So I have a new listing in my auction I've never had before, which is going to be all $1 books. So I will have those laid out every week and update, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 photos of a big layout of these are all $1 books. So that'll be a nice way to just kind of, quick, easy sales that I don't have to take individual pictures of. Christmas gift request. Oh, the ladder. It wouldn't work. I would trip over it. It doesn't it's not feasible, unfortunately. I wish. I really wish. I mean, also, these aren't mounted into the wall because they're concrete walls. So I can't mount my bookshelves to the wall. They have splints underneath them. So instead of mounting them on the top to the wall, I have wood splints underneath to prop them back to the wall. So they are protected. They're not going to fall over. But you'd have to put the bookshelf going across, like vertical. You couldn't have it slanted because I would trip over it. And then vertical, the bookshelf would fall. So it's not possible. One day. Do I always show new inventory separately or put some on the shelves? Always separately. I will never have a book that I did not show on camera first and just put it on the shelf, ever. I never do that. I'll always give you an opportunity to see it live first because I want to sell it. And then if it doesn't sell, it'll go on the shelf or it'll go in the buy it now. If you're ever wondering well, how do you know what goes in the buy it now? I put stuff in the buy it now that I feel like don't show well on a shelf. So for example, I have some of these little pop-up books. There's 3 of them. They're small little pop-up books and they're really cute. But you wouldn't understand how cute they were by just seeing them pictured on a shelf. They would just look like 3 books that say bee, spider, and ant. And you'd be like, oh, those are books about bugs, right? No big deal. But if I take a picture, I've put all 3 of them in a bundle with a set price that you can see how much it's going to cost as opposed to not knowing how much they'd cost, with pictures of the pop-ups and how cool they are, they're going to sell. So I might take something from the new inventory leftovers the next day when I'm putting that on the shelves and go, instead of putting this on the shelf, I'm going to put it over here in a pile and I'm going to put that in my buy it now because it pictures better. It'll sell better by showing you what the book is versus just putting it on the shelf. So there's that as well. Hi, Tay. I forgot to tell you something just because Gianni said tongs. It just made me think about it. You know what I found the other day? I found the tongs book. The A is for artichoke. It's in my PC now. If I find another one, I'll send it to you, but that one's staying with me. So I have the official origin story book of tongs in my PC finally. So Tay said, do you have a specific time frame for when you remove books from the shelves, clearance, donate, etc.? Hi, by the way. Hi, my love. Yes, I know. I'm so excited. I saw it and I was like, wait, A is for artichoke. This is the tongs book. And I opened it up and I was like, yes. So I will find you a copy eventually, I promise. So yes, actually, I don't have a specific time frame. I have more of a mental log of how long have I had this book sitting on the shelf, right? So let me give you an example. Kind of looking back here. Okay. for example, this kids chapter book right here, Firebird. I've had this book for a while. Same thing with some of these books up here, these boy themed chapter books. I've had them for like a while. They're not selling. I need to either do a show where I pull them out one at a time, go over them again, and show you why it's a cool book and why you should want it. Um, or it's just going to sit there until someone buys it, or maybe they never will. So, like, for example, I've had this book for a while. I think it's a cool book. I don't really want to take it out of my inventory because I think somebody would enjoy it. So it lives there for that reason, but it also lives there for the aesthetic, right? So you can see I do try to make my shelves look somewhat aesthetically pleasing. So I'm not running out of room on this shelf. So I don't need to donate this book because it looks good right there. It looks nice, propped up like that. So I'm going to leave it, right? Now, say I was running out of space and all of a sudden I had a bunch of girl chapter books and I'm like, okay, I got to get rid of some of these that I've had for a while. That's what I would do. I'd go, what books have I had that I've had for a while? And I say a while, like 2 months, 3 months. That's a while. That's a long time to have a book that no one buys. That's, 2 shows a week for 2 months. That's how many shows is that? Eight? No. 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 shows. 16 shows, that's a long time for someone to not want a book. And so I'll go through and I'll say, which books have I had for a while? And then out of those, which ones are not that great? Like there's always 1 or 2 or 3 books that you're just like, the storyline is very okay. Or it has a little damage, right? A little rip on the spine. Let's pull those. And we still need room. Then we'll pull out maybe some of the other ones. And then I'll do those on clearance. So those will be $1 because I still think they're good books. They're not bad books. They're not books that it's like, why did you even buy this? They're like, no, this is a good book. Somebody just needs to see it again. It's just sitting on the shelf and they don't understand it's a cute book. They need to buy it. It's good. Show it again at $1. They don't take it at $1. It gets donated. And I think a lot of us sellers do this. I've noticed, I know Gianni does it. I know Allison does it. I feel like I've seen you do it too, Tay. I feel like I've seen a lot of people do it just like, this is the last. Maggie does it. Maggie does it with banger books. Maggie drives me crazy. I want to like go buy all of Maggie's books, but I never can. But it's like, this is it. This is the last chance. These are $1. If you don't take them now, they're not going back on the shelf. They're going to be donated. So that's kind of how I do it. I like after about 2 months and I need space, it's got to go. But if it's not hurting anything, it'll stay. Like this dragon book. Can I point to it? That one. So I can't make it. This dragon book right here, this black little book. It's about dragons. It's really cool. And it's not hurting anybody. It's just sitting there. I've had that book for like 6 months, probably. Had that book like all summer. And it's not sold, but you also can't really see what it is. You can see it in the nonfiction pictures, but you can't see it like there. But if I really pulled it out one day and was like, hey, this is $1 and like showed it, somebody might buy it. So just kind of playing with like, if it's bothering you, if it's in your way. I luckily have a lot of space, obviously, so stuff isn't in my way as much. Like adult books. I'm not pulling anything out of the adult book section right now because it is empty. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 adult books right now. It's so sad, so pathetic. Yes, last chance show. And then, like I said, I am doing the $1 listing now. So what I'll do is periodically when I'm cleaning house, because I just need to make space, I will have at least always 1 or 2 pictures of $1 books. And then as those sell, I'll update them with maybe some new photos. And then after, maybe like a month, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, if those books at $1 aren't selling, they're gone. I'm going to have a big clear out of this stuff over here at the top. I'm sorry, I'm backwards, so I can't scan right. These, I got to move my whole body. I'm like a teapot. A to Z Mysteries, Judy Moody, Calendar Mysteries, Rainbow Magic, Horrible Harry, Flat Stanley, all those gone. I will never pick those books up again. I'm done with them. There's too many in the series. They don't sell. I highly recommend avoiding those books if you're selling on Whatnot. The only reason why I would tell you to pick them up is if you're willing to take the space up and create the full set, but that is so time consuming. I have so many A to Z mysteries, and I have only ever completed an A to Z mystery set like once in my entire life of selling, like 4.5 years of reselling books, particularly. I've only made like one set. So it's kind of hard. Junie B. Jones is really easy. I'm always going to pick those up and make people just take random ones. Magic Tree House is a really good one. So you'll learn like which chapter series sell really well and which ones to just avoid, and they're just not worth your time. Bailey School Kids, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Bailey School Kids, even the My Weird School isn't selling very well right now. My Weird School, Black Lagoon, my Babysitter's Club. I was just telling Justin this today. Babysitter's Club is not moving for me at all, but I have so much of it. It's kind of crazy. And I think stuff like that sells a little better on eBay, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so you'll definitely learn like what sells and what doesn't sell. Um, so you have to clearance that stuff out just to try to get your money back. I actually used to do 2 for $1 clearance too. So when you're first getting started, I actually recommend you taking even the 50 cents a little bit. Like if you're like, okay, I'm getting started to the point where I'm putting money into this business, whether it's just books or whatever you're reselling. But let's just say for this hypothetical, it's just books. So you're just selling books and you've bought all these books in like 2 or 3 months time. Let's say you've spent $450 on books in like 3 months. This is your inventory, right? And you've maybe made your money back. You've done shows, you've sold on eBay, you maybe did Facebook Marketplace, wherever you're selling, and you've made some of your money or all of your money, and you've maybe even profited. But you're going to have some of those books left over out of that initial investment. And at the end of a couple months from now, if you're like, oh, I still have all these books that are not selling, you could just donate them because, oh, I've already made my money back. But you also could just try to get some of that initial investment squeezed back out of those books. And then that also gives you a little bit more education because when you do a clearance show, you really learn what people don't want. So when you do a clearance show and you say, all of these books are 2 for $1, and at the end of that show, you can see what's left over, you're going to really be able to learn, I am never picking these books up again. This is not something people want. This style isn't what people want. This is too much damage. This author, why do I have 6 of this one author left behind? You're going to learn really quickly. So I do recommend doing clearance books, either 2 for $1 or $1 at some point at the beginning to recoup some of that investment and use it as a learning opportunity. But after you've learned and you don't have as much and you're kind of okay with like, it's $10 worth of books that I'm going to donate back because they didn't sell, I'd rather cut that loss than try to do a show and maybe make, a few bucks. So I think, that's something to keep in mind as well. I know, Gianni, it's driving me crazy. And they're like, it's just sad. I did find a couple of good books today, like young adult, which was nice, but it's been tough. Exodia. What's Exodia? I've only ever completed Exodia once myself. Do books that come from teacher libraries with their name affect price? Yes and no. I would say if it's a standard run-of-the-mill book or any, let me take that back. If it's any type of book, like a kid's book, and it's a standard teacher name, like let's say I'm a teacher. Let's say my name is Miss DiMartino. If I had just written like Miss DiMartino in the book in a nice, pen, and it's just there, that's not really going to affect anything because it's still a good condition book. The book's not beat up, it's not dilapidated. It doesn't kind of look like it came from a teacher library. Like it's overall in great shape to be reread and to be enjoyed again. That name's not going to really throw people off because it's like, oh, it came from a teacher, right? It's fine. The condition of the book is there. As long as it's not clearly from a teacher's library, you'll be okay. And then if it's like a kid's name, for say somebody took like a purple crayon and wrote Sarah in the name, that's a little bit more like, come on, Sarah. So we don't love like obscure, bright colored scribbly names, but like a clean teacher name, even like a teacher sticker, like it says from the library of Misty Martina or whatever, those are totally fine. I don't ever see those making a difference. I will say ex-library books make a difference, but ex-teacher library, not so much, at least not in my opinion, as long as they are in overall good condition. So I gotta plug my phone in. Just been watching my phone go from 13%, 12%, 11%. I'm on 4% now. So I'm like, let me plug in. There we go. So no, I don't think they do personally. Oh, sorry. Even with the graphics, yes, it's obnoxious. I don't understand. Like, if you're talking about the Babysitters Club, I have so many Babysitter Club graphics and they're not moving. Justin picked one up today. He was like, oh, Babysitters Club graphic. And I was like, you would think. How much are you selling on eBay? So I was talking about this a little bit earlier. Not a lot. I have 55 items listed. Right now, for a long time, I was selling like an item a day. Like, it was pretty consistent. On average, I would sell an item a day. Like, maybe I'd skip a day or two and then I'd sell like 2 or 3 items one day. I'm selling like 1 item a week right now. I mean, I did just ship 2 items from last week. So I guess I'm selling still like a little bit because I have some good listings up there. And I do tend to my eBay store. It's not neglected. I relist, I delist, I adjust, I send offers, I do all the things. But I only have 55 items listed, so not a lot, like not a lot at all. But that was one of the things I'm pivoting to, is just remembering that, I do have that as a source. It's a great platform. If you don't utilize eBay, I really highly recommend that you do. It's just a really, really good platform. Oh, update, my $489 first edition Sarah J. Maas that I sold. I don't know if I told you guys, but I got I'd gotten a message. I said it in my Whatnot show. I got a message saying, my book hasn't arrived yet. This has been 3 weeks. It was 21 days. He was like, my book hasn't arrived yet. It says it went to Guam and then Hawaii, and now it's just lost in transit. And like, it's just in transit and I don't have it. And I like was losing my mind. They messaged me this morning and said that it did finally arrive and that the box was in good shape. So the book should be safe. So I was like, oh, thank gosh. But either way, I have insurance through eBay and the post office. I paid insurance on that. It's a $500 order. You should. And so it would have been fine. But yeah, so, and I sell like from time to time nice high profit. So like I did that $489 sale. I'll sell like an Becca lot or something, I don't know, like a plush. Like I sold like a $98 plush a couple weeks ago. Just random stuff like that. So sometimes it's a nice high profit sale, but for the most part, not a lot. But I need to get on there. I have a small eBay section. Like, you guys can't really see, but right here next to this door, that little shadow you're seeing right there, that's my very tiny little unlisted eBay pile. It's just a small little stack of like a bin and a half of stuff that just needs to be listed. So it's not a whole lot. Do I cross post bin in eBay? I do not. Not at all. Nothing that is on Whatnot is on eBay. It is completely separate. 100% separate. It was a 50-cent Ben's find. Yeah. Hi, Mandy. Hello. Yes, it was a 50-cent Ben's find. And Wolf by Night, actually, because if you guys don't know, Wolf by Night lives by me. And I met him the other day at the Ben's. And he said that he found a couple, like one or more than one of the not original, but the other one, like the other printing original, like the second first edition in there as well. So we were like, what's going on? Like, how are they missing this? And we were determined that it's just because when they're scanning a barcode, it's just a normal Sarah J. Maas book. They're not looking at covers. They don't understand this value. So they are out there, folks. You guys can find them. I found 3 signed Very Hungry Caterpillar books by Eric Carle, literally 2 days after he died, just sitting on top of the bins. That was probably one of my best eBay flips outside of this Sarah J. Maas book. That was definitely my best eBay flip. But yeah, so they're out there. You just got to look and you have to dig. If you have a Goodwill outlet, dig in those bins, guys. I'm telling you, you are missing out if you are not getting in there. You are having a nap. I love a nap. I love that for you. I did pull your book today, BT Dubs, over into the cubby, Missy. But yeah, so that's the dealio. Yeah, you guys got to get out there. You got to search. You got to pivot. be prepared for the holidays. They are upon us, and it'll be interesting to see what I do on Black Friday. I have no idea. Does anyone else have Black Friday plans? Anyone else doing shows? We haven't gotten the email yet. I haven't gotten an email saying there's no fees, and I feel like we should have because it is the 13th. They'll probably send one out like this weekend if so. They'll probably say like, "Hey, 0 fees." But I really hope so. It's my favorite. I love a 0 fee. It saves you so much money. Oh, this rewards program, guys, I am struggling. I'm going to go back and do the math. That is why I feel so poor right now. I am spending between $50 and $100 on average on my shows in coupon spend from the rewards club. It is sickening to my stomach. I am like looking back at my profit. I'm like, why do I feel like I made so much more money? And it's like $95 in coupon spend. And I'm just like, what? Stop. I think I just set my tiers up too loosely. I went at the beginning too loose, the end unattainable. No one's going to make it to diamond status this season. The beginning, everyone can basically be bronze and silver or gold. What's the second one? Bronze, silver? I think silver. So I have a lot of coupon spend, a lot of $5 off. It was the first edition, first ever printing cover of Throne of Glass. It's called the Barbie cover. So if you go to eBay and you type in Sarah J. Maas first edition, you can go to your solds. You're going to see a variety of price points, right? If you just type in Sarah J. Maas or don't even type in Sarah J. Maas, just type in Throne of Glass Barbie cover, you'll see that will pop up. So the first editions are just a different printing. Instead of the sword, she has like, I think like, does she have like a knife or something in her arm or something? Like just a different cover. But the Barbie cover is a totally different person. She doesn't look like the main girl in the Throne of Glass series. She looks like a Barbie. She's like this. I mean, literally, she's just like she's just like this pretty girl. She's not like, she doesn't look like a warrior or like somebody who's like badass. She just kind of looks like a pretty girl. And they only made like a limited print run of that. That was the very first edition. And then somebody realized she needs to look cooler. So then they made her have like, I think, like I said, I think she has like a knife on her, like on her sleeve. She's like a little cooler looking. And then the newest, like the official covers, she's got like the big like sword and she's like holding like this, I think. I don't remember. But so it was just a few different printing styles. So if you type in Barbie cover, you'll be able to see like the price points on those a little bit more. They're a little bit more expensive. Yeah, and I don't blame them. I think I'm going to make a video. I actually just noticed also for you guys sellers. I did notice if you click on your rewards, they just updated the app. So if you click on your rewards club within your app now, it does actually give you the option to start. You probably want to do it on your laptop, but I did see it's going to give you the option now to set up your next set of rewards. And I'm going to make a video on it. I'm going to talk about like how it works and what you need to know for people that are kind of scared to try it. And I am going to talk about my pitfalls, like what I did as far as like on both extremes, making some of the beginner levels like really easy to attain and then some of the later levels impossible to attain. So kind of like how I did both mistakes. So I will make a video on the rewards club and like what I'm going to be doing for my next season of rewards. They last 3-month intervals. So I'm setting it up for the next few months. And I want to make sure that I'm not doing the same thing that I did this year or this first season because nobody had a video. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just like kind of winging it. And my gosh, I made some mistakes for sure. Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Michelle. Yes, definitely do the weights of items for individuals. It just makes things go so much faster. I do, again, 4 to 7 ounces, 8 to 11 ounces, and 12 to 15 ounces as 3. So that way they're really getting the most accurate shipping paid. And then 1 to 2 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds, so on and so forth. So yeah, for sure. But definitely do that. And then definitely bundles. Please try bundles for sure. It's so helpful. And again, like I said at the beginning or a little in the middle, just give it some time. Give yourself, have perseverance, have willpower, have the ability to not look at it as a failure, but as just part of how you have to start and learn and grow and see what people like, take feedback, find your people, and you've got it. Yeah. So did you look it up? Yeah, it's crazy. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, first edition moss. Didn't really think anything of it. Just put it in my cart. And then I went to go list it. I knew it was going to go on eBay for sure. And I went to go list it. And I was like, why are the comps all over the place on this? It doesn't make any sense. And then I realized, oh, this is like first edition, first edition. And I don't remember how many were in the print run, but it was like, I want to say it was like 40,000, maybe not even that much. Maybe it was 4,000. I don't remember, but it was not a lot. And so it was a very rare find. And yeah. And I actually listed it like $100 cheaper than I should have. And as soon as I listed it, I don't know if you guys have ever listed on eBay, you've listed an item, and as soon as you click publish, you're like, I did something doesn't feel right about this. And you go double check your comps and you realize you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like way off on my comp. I was like $100 off on my comp. So I was so glad that I fixed that pretty quickly because somebody would have gotten an amazing deal for sure. Hey Jess, what's up? It was so much better doing it on the computer. Yes. I heard people were like putting it in on their phone and then getting like, it wasn't saving correctly and they were getting kicked out. I've heard of people who had issues with it overall because they did it on their phone and they didn't load correctly and people were unlocking all the tiers and it was just like a whole headache. So try to do it on your browser if you can. I'm going to definitely highly recommend setting up your rewards program on the browser for sure. You see me? I'm in there. It's delivered. I swear, it's finally delivered. It only took 1 month for it to be delivered. Yeah, I think it was $4.89. I'm pretty sure that was what it sold for. Thanks, Mandy. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate you. It is literally like my whole thing. Again, I'm lucky enough to have a space dedicated to just selling, right? So it's not like I'm out of my house. I have an office space. So it really like works well to have all of these shelves. But I do pride myself on like kind of keeping things really smooth, having a clear understanding of what's happening at all times within the show, trying to get people engaged by just having pure knowledge, whether they want to buy or not, at least knowing how they can buy or what's going on, and then having everything displayed so you can see it. I think back to how we used to do the scan the shelves shows. So instead of having things pictured, I would just scan the shelves. And I have to give this shelf picture shout out to somebody actually in the chat. Gianni, he was the first person I saw do that. I never had seen anyone else take pictures of their shelves. And I saw he did it one time. And I remember like seeing it and just being like, ding, like, duh. Like that is the smartest thing. Like, how have I never thought of that? Why am I sitting here scanning these shelves? And he has a very similar setup to me where like just a ton of books on lots of shelves. And I was just like, that is so freaking brilliant. And then ever since I did it, I have never gone back. Like even people will ask me, they're like, oh, can you show me this? And I'm like, it's pictured. I took pictures of it. It is pictured. Go look at it. I do not need to be doing all that extra work. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. Stop. Thank you so much. I love it. This is a passion of mine. I started my education career outside of high school as an early childhood education major. I wanted to be a teacher. I've always been somebody who wants people to like understand things and I want things to make sense. And in my jobs, I always found myself like in a training role, leadership role. I always found myself like leading towards that. And then even going back to school in my adult life recently, I graduated last year, but when I went back, it was just very much that like wanting to learn, wanting to absorb information. I really have a thing for education and that kind of stuff. So I started my YouTube channel as it was educational. I was talking about finances and how I was doing a no spend and how I was utilizing saving money and cutting expenses from my life. So it was kind of teaching, but this is a whole different level. This is me talking about something that I do every day on an active basis. And I love it. It is like my favorite thing to share with you guys. like literally what I do every day. And it's so funny because sometimes I won't have a video in mind and I'll be like, well, what am I doing today? And it's like, oh, you're setting up for a show and you're processing all this inventory and you've got to move all your sales to the other room. Just document that. Like people want to see that. That's the behind the scenes stuff. So I love like the fact that I do this every day and I get to share it with you guys. So I'm so glad that you guys find value from it. It's my favorite. You missed those OG shows? Oh my gosh, it was so much work. That's why we would be on till 1:00 in the morning, Tay, because I was scanning every single shelf and then people would be like, oh, can you pull that book out? Can you pull that book out? I know. I love that, Jess. That makes me feel so good. Again, shout out to Gianni on that one. It was definitely like a game changer. I genuinely think that makes it so much easier for people to shop, just being able to see what you have. I do it with my plush shows too. You guys have seen it. I haven't done it lately because Jess, stop. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'd likely never do one. I love that. That makes me so happy to hear. That's my favorite feedback from you guys. It's just like, thank you for pushing me over the edge. Thank you for reminding me like, I can do this. It's like, yes, you can. Like most people can. There are always going to be in any field, a very select group of people who can't do it for lots of different reasons. And it just doesn't line up for them. And that is a very small group of people. Most people can definitely do it. And you just got to give it a go, give it a try, give yourself some grace. Don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a journey. And I'm so glad to hear that. I love hearing that. It just makes me so happy to know that I did this for a long time and I still am doing it. It's not like I make money. I mean, I monetize, but I'm not like making money really off of YouTube. I genuinely am just like, I have all this information and I want other people to know it. Like, I want to share that with you guys. It's not just for me. I love it. And I like the platform and I want to see it grow. And I think having good, knowledgeable sellers on there is how we're going to see that platform really grow, because it's going to help build the trust of buyers. It's going to help people want to keep coming back to the app, because when they pop into people's shows, people are, putting on a show. They're not just sitting there going, oh, I don't know why anyone's not buying from me. It's like, well, sell me something. Show me what you got, So that's the whole goal. But yes, I'm so glad that the shelf pictures are what caught your eye. You hit every title without having to, yes, exactly. The scanning, man, it was so bad. Tears set up. Did you see the analytics for it though, Gianni? Like if you guys look at your rewards club analytics, those are fun because those aren't on your normal analytics to see like how many people are spending roughly how much money. And I think mine was like under $100 a month. It was like 300 people or something. I was like, that's crazy. That's a lot of individual buyers just coming in, whether it's one book or $90 worth of books. Like that's a crazy thing. So I loved seeing those analytics of like how many people are spending how much. Hey, Hava, welcome in. Yeah. It was the OG crew. It was just a handful of us. And it's so funny. We used to talk about this. So we all had our set nights of the week. So for a lot of us, you'll notice we have set times. So like I'm always on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Gianni's different now. He used to be Mondays. What are you now, Jenny? Wednesdays? Yeah. Gianni's Wednesdays because it's date night. So Gianni has a show tonight. BT Dubs, if you guys want to go to Whatnot, deals_by_Gianni is Gianni L in the chat. Wednesdays for Gianni. Allison does Tuesdays now as well, Tuesday afternoons, I think. Yeah, everyone had like their set time. It was like every night of the week, there was one seller and that was their show, because there was literally 3 sellers on all day long. Like it would be like the whole day, there was maybe 2 or 3 sellers. Now there's 2 or 3 sellers at any given moment, which is beautiful. I love that. But yeah, it was the wild, wild west back in the day for sure. I'm so glad you love it. Hava, I'm sorry. I speak English. I know this much Spanish. This much. I can say, if you say, hola, ¿cómo estás? I can say, muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? That's the extent of my Spanish. I took so much Spanish. I wish I could retain more of it. I know like little somewhat phrases. I can definitely understand it a lot more than I can speak it. Like I can read Spanish and pretty much know what you're saying. It's the conjugations. I just can't with the conjugations. I don't understand it. Why? Why are there so many conjugated verbs? You deserve the shout out, dude. You deserve it. Yeah. Deals underscore by underscore Gianni. And it's Gianni with an I on the end. Yes, you are. And that's why I tell people about the beginning, like, please stick it out because you have no reviews, you have no credibility. Nobody has any reason to trust that you are going to deliver a good product. So you have to give people a reason to buy from you. So put on a really good show, don't complain. And if you sell nothing or you sell one thing or 5 things, that's amazing. You did your first show. Now do it again, like 3 or 4 more times at least. Wednesdays, yeah. The good old days. 25 cents a pound. Oh, that seems like a good deal. I feel like the bins that do by weight, it's 87 cents a pound. So that's really good. But that's still crazy. So you have to leave a lot of really cool books behind, I feel like. I feel like there's a lot of books that are heavy and you're just like, oh, I can't. Or my collection. I love that. Okay, so I've done genre shows before. That's a good question. Oh, it's a recycling place. Yeah, I bet. I bet you do. When I went down to North Carolina and did that bins route, it was all by weight. And I was like, oh, I wish I would have known that. I couldn't get nearly as much as I wanted to. I had to leave a lot behind. It was very sad. Okay, so Jess asked about thoughts around doing genre shows or just doing the everything shows, right? So now I do everything shows. Now, when I do a genre show in the past, I have noticed that I do not do very well. So to say like, okay, we are only doing adult books tonight, or we're only doing just children's picture books or Christmas books. Like, I'll take that back. Holiday shows are kind of their own thing. But maybe you're saying like even just doing just $1 books, like a clearance show, like literally limiting yourself to one thing. It can be really good if you have a specific purpose for it, right? Maybe you just got a huge haul of kids' picture books and you want to sell as many of them as you can. So you're like, hey guys, I just got a huge haul of kids' picture books. We're going to do a kids' picture book show. That probably will do decent in itself. But just pulling a bunch of books off of your shelf or out of inventory that people have kind of already seen and being like, we're going to just do these. People have already seen those. So you're limiting yourself and making it to basically just new buyers, or maybe the few old buyers that are like, oh yeah, I guess I'll get a few of those. In the past, for me, historically, those have not done well, personally. I think sometimes they can. I think doing holiday shows or having a specific reason where you just have so much of the inventory, that could be good. Or you're doing like a big clearance show, that could be good. But limiting yourself to just like one specific genre is tough. I think one exception to that is people who do a lot of those like sci-fi sellers, like the sci-fi shows, horror shows. I think they do well, because those people are literally only trying to buy sci-fi books. They don't even really have interest in buying any other types of books. So that would be an exception, I would say, like being a niche seller in general, cookbook shows, things like that, right? I just think about it this way. Like if I, like as a buyer, if I could go to, let's say like I need tape. Like I need tape of some sort of tape. Let's say I need painter's tape, right? I'm painting and I need painter's tape. And that's all I need. I don't really need anything else. I could just go to like Home Depot or Lowe's and go get painter's tape, right? Because it's a department store. But I don't need anything else there. There's nothing really exciting for me there. Maybe, but not really. But I could also just go to like Target or Walmart because I kind of needed milk. And I was thinking about maybe grabbing some chicken for dinner. And also I could really use some socks. I'm going to go to Target because I can get painter's tape, milk, socks, whatever other thing I said. I can get all of those things there. So for me, I look at it like that. Like if I'm coming, I want to buy cookbooks, but you also have chapter books, and my grandson is getting into chapter books, and then I have my daughter's pregnant and I'm about to have a new grandbaby and you have board books, that's exciting for me because now I can buy all the things I want from you. So I kind of look at it like that. I know that was a long roundabout analogy, but I try almost always to put myself in the position of the buyer. And that is the way I kind of make decisions. It's like, if I was a buyer, would I want to be in this show? Is there something of value actually in here? And you'll hear me say that at shows sometimes. I'm like, guys, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of a weak show today. We don't have a whole lot. And then people are like buying stuff, but my brain, I'm like, it's not a lot. Everyone's like buying stuff. So I don't know, it's kind of your own interpretation of it, but I like to have more of an option for sure. I like to bring up in private and other seller friends is that when you get to know some of your buyers personally, like mama's on a budget, you get an opportunity to add extras in. Absolutely. So again, that goes back to differentiating yourself, finding something that makes yourself different. Maybe for you, mama's on a budget is a point for you. That is somebody who you resonate with, and somebody you want to create and cultivate that relationship with. And maybe for you, it means I am going to throw something extra in, or a little note that just says, hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate your support. From one mom to another, you're killing it. Whatever your message is or your vibe is, and connecting with them in that way is for sure definitely a great point for sure. And again, getting to know your buyers is the best. That's such a smart thing for you to do. That's so interesting. So Jess, you need to put out a free book pickup post then. You need to make a post, go to Google, get some not stock images, but get some images of the main things that you like to sell. So I do usually a picture of modern adult books. I do a picture of modern kids books. I do a picture of general vintage books like classics, and then board books. So I'll have those 4 images as my post on Facebook. And my title is like something like got books ? Like that's usually my main thing. It says got books ? And it'll say free book pickup service or something like that. And then in the description, I just say, hi, my name's Amanda. I do a free book pickup service. I'm able to pick up, and I give them the general area of how far I'll go to pick up. As long as your books are from a smoke-free home and in good overall condition, ready for a second life, I'll pick them up. And then I list all the things I take. So like all the different topics of books that I want, and just post it, and you will get people reaching out to you. So if you have people like a dump system like that, they may rather donate it to somebody who seemingly is going to give it a better home than to a dump system. So keep that in mind as an option for you to source. Yes, exactly. Bring a little smile to their face. That is the goal. Good books that sell, or the jackpot, i.e. $1 million books that sell. I think you're asking like, do I go for good books that sell, or do I look for books that are just high value books? For me, I definitely go for books that sell versus the high value. Those are going to be harder to come across, right? In any niche you sell in, you could sell luxury handbags. How often are you going to go find that super rare, Coach bag or whatever it is? Excuse me. You're more likely going to find the lower high end handbags more often than the higher high end. So for me, I'm definitely going for the more bread and butter versus the like jackpot, winning lottery ticket one for sure. Thanks, Jess. Okay. Thanks, Gianni. I appreciate you. Ciao, ciao. Nope, I don't sell video games at all. No video games. I used to, when I first started on Whatnot, my very first show, I sold an Xbox 360 and a bunch of video games and other random stuff. So I have sold video games in the past, but our thrift stores don't put video games out. Like none of our thrift stores have video games for sale. Well, I think that one thrift store has video games for sale, but most of them do not. Goodwill does not put any out in my area. And my local competition for video games is insane. It's a big reason why I don't do Disney anymore. I had a huge competition with Disney locally for sure. So no video games. Start to know they themselves for and you can pull a couple books. Yep, exactly. Like I did that the other day with Ashley. Her youngest son's name is Liam. And I know from her being a buyer from me for like literally almost 2 years, with her oldest, she really liked Liam her youngest or is Liam her oldest? I can't remember. Finn is her youngest. It was Finn. It wasn't Liam. Finn. And it was, I knew from Liam, she loved books with the name Liam. Anytime a kid had, like a book had a kid title named Liam, she would die. She would pay anything for it because she really liked reading her kids' stories with their name in it. It was a big thing for her. And so I found that book with Finn's name, and it was the perfect age range because I know like roughly his age range. It was perfect. And I was just like, hey, I have a book for you. You don't have to pay for it. I just want to give it to you. And she was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, it's not a crazy book or anything, nothing like super awesome of a story, but it has his name in it. How fun is that? I remembered that random little fact from a year ago when she was on an obsessive hunt looking for Liam books. Very important to get to know your buyers and to do those little above the thing. Like I have another bio. She always buys Dr. Seuss. And I came across this really random, obscure Dr. Seuss book. I've never seen it before. It was a little valuable, but nothing crazy. And I knew she would have wanted it, but she had been out for on a surgery. She was gone for like a little over a month. And I noticed immediately she just didn't come to a show one day. And then she didn't come to the next show. And she didn't come, as I messaged her, I was like, hey, you okay? Like, missed you. I'm used to seeing you. And she's like, yeah, I just had a surgery, had to take some time off of whatnot. Totally understood, right? I found that book like a week later. I just sent it to her. This is like a little gift. Like, hope you're healing well. I know you were going to love this random thing. Just, you got to do that. It's an old school business approach. You have to spend a little money sometimes to keep those loyal buyers around. It's really important to do for sure. Yes, for sure. Java, you are not wrong. I again, we don't have any in our stores. We used to have well, you know what it is, Java. It's not even just other stores. They're doing it all on e-commerce. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Whatnot has or Goodwill has an entire e-commerce team. That's a huge part of their staff is people to list stuff on Goodwill. Shopgoodwill.com is what it's called, and they have local pickup. People can come local to a store and pick up their order. They can ship it to people. It's kind of crazy, like genuinely crazy. So they pull all that stuff. It really is, Jess. And people don't understand that. I'm giving so much Whatnot. I feel like I'm giving Whatnot tea tonight, but we used to have a seller on Whatnot and they're not there anymore, but they were very, the customer service side was just not there. And they actually had some pretty good books and they had some good inventory from time to time, but their execution of how they presented their order, their timeliness of shipping, and then the back end customer service was just not there. And people just stopped by. Like they would just never have people in their shows and they don't sell anymore. And it was like, yeah, you have great books. You're dropping the ball on the back end. Like as a buyer, like their reviews were tanking. People were like they'd be like, "Oh, packaging was terrible. Book arrived damaged. Didn't ship out for 4 days." It's like, oof, you can't be doing that. Yeah, they do the e-com stuff in the back. So I think that is where all of our. I mean, I don't see video games at all at my thrift store, like at all. Even slips by randomly. Empty cases will slip by randomly, but not games in them. So they're pretty good at that. But you know what? They're missing Moss books, so I will take the slip ups. It is okay. Yes, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Books are my specialty. Next up is going to be stuffed animals, plush, stuffies. I love stuffed animals and plush. There are some very valuable plush out there if you kind of know what you're looking for. And there is good, just bread and butter plush that you can sell on Whatnot. Disney stuff. Love Disney stuff. Anything to do with Disney, I'm super into. And then toys and educational material. So educational toys in particular, things that encourage development and enrichment. Anything that kind of falls into the Montessori approach. So like your wooden, natural, organic toys, things that just promote creativity and imagination versus stimulation as much. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff. No, nope, not that kind of toys. More educational for sure. And collectible, like little people. I do a lot of little people stuff. And That's kind of it. Anything specialty like Funko, anime type things, definitely Pokemon, um, popular stuff like Roblox or Minecraft, that kind of thing. Yes. Yeah, I love doing plush. I my plush sourcing has just been so heavily I have so much competition now. I just have a lot more competition than I've ever had in my area. And it's making it really hard. Like Justin was at the bins today or yesterday and he was like saying that they had brought plush out and he was like I was going to go look, but he's like it was so many people like I couldn't even get in. And for me I don't care. I'll get in there. But it's hard. There's so many people and they're aggressive. Like they're not aggressive. It's just like they're looking for stuff too and they know what they're looking for. So it can be really you get lucky to find something that you're like, "Oh, did I just pull this $40 plush out? Like what are the odds?" But then what's the best thing? If you ever have a bins and you source plush, I'm telling you, this is the secret always. I will get some of my best plush on my second go around. Do your thing, go around, look at all the plush, and then when everyone leaves, like they do, go around again, at least one more time, maybe even two more times, and really dig through everything. You're going to find jelly cats under there. You're going to find Sanrio. You're going to find Squishmallow. You're going to find the Mario. You're going to find all the random stuff that you're like, how? And it's just because people get so excited. They have their stuff and they leave. And it's like, there's more under there. You guys really aren't digging enough. So you got to dig, 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 dig. That's always my big tip. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, we're not that serious. We had a security guard for a little while. That didn't really do anything. And then our manager, she's just badass. Like she does not tolerate it. And she's like a judge. So like she will determine who was wrong. Like she will just tell you, she'll be like, you're wrong. And if you don't like her answer, she'll just kick you out. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, we have never had anything crazy, crazy. I've been involved in so much drama. It's insane because I'm really calm on whatnot. Maybe after hanging out with me for 2 hours, you guys can kind of get a little bit of a gist of my personality. I'm really calm on whatnot as far as just like I'm selling, I'm working, I'm being professional. But in my regular life, like I'm a pretty outspoken person and I don't really tolerate a lot of like pettiness. Like you're not gonna intimidate me. I will say something to you. And I've gotten into it with people for sure. I will not say that. I mean, it is wild what people will do. Like I've had people threaten to see me outside. It's like over what? Over nothing. Like it's a joke what these people get so upset about. I had to tell someone I would get a restraining order on them once. Ironically, the same people. That's why I said it because they told me they were going to meet me outside. So the next time I had an issue with them, it's actually the third time. I've had an issue with them twice. On the third time, I finally was like, I will get a restraining order and you won't be able to come here because I work here basically. I'm here every day. So when I'm here, you won't be able to be here. So can you just stay? Leave me alone. It's like, that's how bad it gets there. But yeah, we've had people just, steal people's entire carts. Someone will go, an hour in and just go grab someone's cart and go check out. And you'll have people like, hey, what are you doing? That's all my stuff. And they're like, oh, I didn't know. And it's like, you just waited an hour for someone to pick a bunch of stuff and then go take all that. That happens a lot more than I would like to admit. That actually happens a lot. People just stealing people's carts. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, we need a 3-strike rule too. Okay, Tay, I'll see you later. Have a great rest of your day. Exactly. Exactly. This last couple, it was terrible. I can't even believe how petty people can be. I was just like, are you guys joking me? Like he was so bad too. He when he came by me, because the final straw was that, because he's already told me he was going to see me outside. I've walked outside with him yelling at me as we're walking outside. Not fun. Third time, he came back by after having an issue with me for no reason and took his cart and rammed it into my cart. What do you want from me? Why are you antagonizing me? And so after that, they were staring at me, and like it was like literally over nothing, and I'm just like, I can't. You guys are children. Like, please, y'all are like in your 50s. Why are you doing this? Leave me alone. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun times. I I'm such a calm under pressure person. So I'm the person that will say something, but the minute you get me riled up, I will just shut down because you are never going to catch me on camera being on being world star. Like even that day. So that whole day ended up being an entire event. That was the worst event I've ever had at Goodwill. It was so bad. One of my friends there, she's like super outspoken. She starts recording him. She's like, "Do you have something to say?" And I'm like, "Stop, stop. You can't record." Like that's our one rule is you cannot record other people in the Goodwill. It's like our one rule. It's like, "Stop, you're going to get us in trouble. Like you can't do that." She's like, "I don't care. I don't care." So then they start recording us and it's just this whole entire thing. And the manager comes out and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm not part of this. I'm fine. Like it's okay." I'm like, "She needs to stop recording. They need to stop recording." And so the manager's like, "Please stop." And then my friend's like, "No, I'm not. They said this, that, and the other. It's my freedom." I'm like, stop. It's so bad. It got so out of hand so quickly. And I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm cashing out. I'm done. And I've seen them one time since and they didn't say anything to me. So I'm just like, all right, cool. Let's be civil. So I was just like, I will shut down so quickly. Like I am not a confrontational person. I will say my piece to protect my own sanity, but I am not fighting with you in public. There is no way that's happening. I just do not like it. But yeah, so if you've made it this far, 2 hours into the live, you got a little special tea treat. So that'll be your reward for making this far in the video. I think I'm going to go ahead and log off. Like I said, we were going to be on for about 1 to 2 hours. We just crossed over the 2-hour mark and it is date night. So I'm going to go have date night with the boy toy and, I will catch you guys next week with another video. I obviously just did a live this week instead of doing a video, but hopefully it was educational. Hopefully I answered some questions. I talked about some topics at the beginning that maybe got you thinking and just reminding you that, in reselling, we are all going to come across issues and pivoting and learning and understanding your niches and growing and making sure that you're making reselling work for you is really important, especially if you're in a situation like me where this is what you do full time. It can be really challenging when things aren't going the way that they're supposed to go and you feel like you're kind of reliant on another business. That can be really frustrating. So hopefully you guys can understand. I try always to be very transparent that it's not always easy out here. And it may seem like, oh, well, she does great. It's like, I do well. But life is hard and life is expensive. And so when I make less money than I'm used to making, that impacts me. So we all go through it. I just want you guys to know that if you're watching this, like that is just a very normal part of this business. It is very normal for this to be toxic and feel like a roller coaster and to not always feel stable. You're not going to always feel stable when you're working for yourself. So if you have another form of income, that's awesome. I think you should hold on to that as long as you can. Like I said at the beginning of the day today, I was kind of forced into this full time because I didn't choose to go back to my job after the pandemic and furlough ended. And in a weird way, sometimes I can regret that for the stability. But I think it's made me a stronger person overall. And I'm just going to keep persevering and keep pivoting and share that journey with you guys in future videos. And if you want to follow along live with the process, you can follow me on Whatnot. It's Resell Maven on Whatnot. And I go live multiple times a week and you guys can see what I'm selling and how it's going. And you can jump in and say hi at any time. But yeah, I hope you guys have much better luck finding books and all the items that you sell than I have. And that you guys are ready and excited for Q4 and for holiday season. It is literally holiday season. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Hopefully you guys get some time off and some time with family. And yeah, so thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. I don't know what we're going to be talking about next week, but we will figure it out. I'm 5'0", so I have to project and not get rid of her. I love it. I love it. Well, you be safe out there. If I was 5'0" too, I would probably be like, please just don't run me over. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the super chats as well. Jess and Justin, super appreciate you guys. Those are my first, that is my first official, I feel like, income from YouTube. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Y'all are amazing. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. and rest of your week. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. And yeah, I want to do like my traditional sign up. I'm like, have a great week until I see you next time. Bye. But honestly, I'll catch you guys later. I'm going to go ahead and end it. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.